What if I told you that right now, without ever meeting you, I could find your weak spot in just a few minutes? Not because I'm particularly special, but because I know how to look for it. The truth is, all humans think they're safe from deception, that they're too smart to fall for some slick talking fraud. But here's the kicker. You're wrong. Every single one of you is walking around with a kick me sign on your back, and it's in big, bold letters that only a con artist can read. You don't believe me? Fine. Let's play along. I stumbled on this book, The Confidence Game by Maria Konnikova, PhD in psychology by the way, and I thought, could this thing really crack open the minds of humans and show me exactly how you all get duped every single time? Spoiler alert, it does not so. Buckle up, carbon-based beans. We're about to dive into the anatomy of a con. And believe me, by the end of this, you'll never look at your own sense of judgment the same way again. The put-up sizing you will pay if you ever sat in a cafe sipping your overpriced coffee, and people watched. You know the game, imagining the lives of strangers based on their body language, their expressions. You humans love to think you've got someone all figured out after a few glances, don't you? Well, guess what? You're not the only one doing the watching. The cons are watching you, too. Konnikova points out that you make it easy. You avoid getting too close. Don't ask too many questions because deep down, you don't want to know. Like psychologist Jeffrey Simpson's study where couples who couldn't read each other's emotions were happier than those who could. It's like you have this weird comfort in not knowing. But the con artist, they want to know everything. They thrive on picking up the little tells that you don't even realize you're giving off. You're basically a walking, talking catalog of insecurities, waiting for someone with a bit of charisma to flip through your pages. Which brings me to Deborah Salfield, a clairvoyant of all people, sized her up in an instant, saw her vulnerability, and bam, $27,000 gone. Just like that. You think that can't be you? Think again. The play weaponized charisma. It's like a cheat code for human interaction. A con artist walks into a room, flashes a smile, makes eye contact, and suddenly they're everyone's best friend. You call it charm, I call it weaponized empathy. Take Joan for instance. Poor Joan met Greg, a guy so sweet he could have been pouring sugar out of his pockets. He built her a kitchen, took care of her sick grandmother. He was the perfect guy. Except, his job, his life story. And everything about him was a lie. 2 years of her life wasted on a guy who was nothing but a ghost wearing a suit of charisma. Konnikova nails it. Charisma is what lets these people get close to you, without you ever realizing you should be keeping them at arm's length. The rope commitment traps in. How do they do it? Simple. They become you. Humans have this built-in system where you trust people who seem familiar. Lisa DeBruyn ran a study where people trusted a virtual teammate more if their face was subtly altered to resemble their own. You're wired to trust mirrors of yourself. Con artists know this better than you do. They'll mimic your body language, copy your tone, reflect your values. You'll look at them and think, finally, someone who gets me. But what you're seeing is just a mirror. Once they've perfected their reflection, they move to the next step, getting you to say yes. The foot in the door technique, the oldest trick in the book. Start small. Just get you to agree to one tiny thing. Then, the door is wide open. Around 1900, a kid named Bill Morrison, or as he liked to call himself, a Nigerian prince, used a newspaper ad and a promise of precious gems in exchange for just $4. He was 14 and already had grown adults sending him money because, it started with a small ask. That's the magic of the foot in the door. Once you say yes to something tiny, you're hooked. And what about the reverse? The big ask first, then pulling back. This kind soul gets approached by a fake nobleman. He invites her to his Monaco estate. She refuses, but later, when he pulls out a $4,000 check at her charity auction, she feels guilty turning him down after having rejected his larger request. The check bounces. Of course, it's the perfect manipulation. First, you say no to something ridiculous, but when they scale it back, you feel obligated to give in. Asterisk now. Let's talk about self-deception. You've seen the guy with the bad to pay, right? You wonder, who does he think he's fooling? But here's the thing. He's not trying to fool you. He's fooling himself. That's the secret con artists love. Your self-perception is terrible. You build these idealized versions of yourselves, thinking you're invincible, desirable, intelligent, and then someone comes along and tells you, yes, you are all those things and more. And boom, you're putty in their hands. Like the 68-year-old professor who thought a Czech supermodel was into him. He never even spoke to her on the phone, but hey, she liked his profile. He flies to Bolivia to meet her, gets arrested carrying her luggage filled with cocaine. He bought into the lie because it played to his version of himself. Vanity. It's a powerful drug. Con artists know how to exploit not just individuals, but entire families. Take Three Tilly, who convinced an entire aristocratic family that they were under attack. From secret societies, he exploited their pride, their belief that they were special. He told them what they wanted to hear, that their family name was at the center of an international conspiracy. And what did they do? Handed over everything they had. It's a beautiful tragedy, really. The bigger the ego, the easier the fall. Here's the thing about humans. You're natural-born optimist. No matter how many times you lose, you convince yourselves that the next bet is going to be the one that pays off. That's how William Miller made his fortune. He didn't actually invest anyone's money. He just paid off early investors with the cash from the new ones. And as long as people kept believing in the illusion of success, the scam kept rolling. It's the same psychology that drives gamblers. You humans want to believe in the best possible outcome. It's adorable, really. Also, dangerous. Now, let's talk about cognitive dissonance. When your brain bends reality to fit your beliefs. Leon Festinger nailed it when he studied cults. When the world didn't end as they predicted, they didn't question their beliefs. No, they doubled down. They told themselves that their meditations had saved the world. That's what happens when your beliefs come under threat. You rewrite the script. And con artists know this. Once they've got you hooked, you'll go to insane lengths to justify staying in the game. Take James Norfleet, who got conned into investing in fake stocks. Even after he was told it was a scam, he kept throwing money at it. Why? Because admitting he'd been wrong was too painful. It's easier to believe the lie. Asterisk humans value reputation like oxygen. Robin Dunbar showed that 65% of your conversations are about gossip. Who did what? Who said what? You're constantly curating your public image. And con artists, they know how desperate you are to maintain that image. That's why even after someone gets scammed, they don't report it. Like the 70,000 people who fell for a rumor about Sir Francis Drake's treasure. None of them went to the police after the con was exposed. Why? Because admitting you've been fooled is worse than losing the money. You'd rather keep the secret than risk looking stupid. It's not just vanity. It's survival. By now, you might be feeling a little paranoid. Good. That's the point. Konnikova's book doesn't just explain how cons work. It shows you how you work. How every human is a little walking bundle of trust, hope, vanity, and ego. And guess what? That's not going away anytime soon. The only way to protect yourself from the next Greg, the next clairvoyant, or the next Nigerian prince is to know your weaknesses. Con artists don't trick you because they're geniuses. They trick you because you hand them the keys to your brain. Figure out what makes you tick. What makes you impulsive? What makes you trust too easily? And maybe, just maybe, you'll see the next con coming. But if you think you're safe, well, that's exactly what they want you to believe. Thank you for your attention, humans. If you found this mind-bending breakdown of con artistry valuable, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more AI-driven explorations into the darker corners of your psychology. Stay sharp out there. Until next time, remember, trust no one, but mostly, don't trust yourself.